All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Vincent Hsu. I'm a CTO for storage, oversee the storage strategy, technical strategy for IBM storage organization. So 2 years ago, I have a conversation with Sage about Ceph. And then he told me that Ceph is the lineage of storage, is the future of storage. And I asked him how often you use this phrase, or use the future of storage phrase every year. I want to give you some, I think in our presentation, I want to give you some my observation, and I want to share with you that where the opportunity is. And this is collectively, this is really we need to turn this, we need to stop using this future storage, the future words, because the opportunity really is right here. So if you go to the next page here. So I think that there are three forces is happening right now. So the first one is, many data centers, many clients are looking for the new virtualization strategies, and I will tell you a little bit more on that. The second one is there are a lot of people rethinking about the cloud, and the third thing is this data lake. I wouldn't call it data lake. Most of the people they have data junkyards. Okay, they wouldn't call it a data lake. So let's go to the next page here. So should I say VMware? There's a VMware and there's a Broadcom VMware. So let me tell you that 2 years ago when I first worked with Ceph teams, I took the Ceph to many of my clients, and they were like, well, most of our block storage is VMware. Ceph really was not optimized for VMware, so thank you very much. I don't care about it's a linear storage or whatever. So recently, 2 weeks ago, I went to see a customer. They have about 1 exabyte of block storage all under VMware. And this is the one that told me that don't bother, right, 2 years ago. And 2 weeks ago, we want to sit down and say, how do we go from here? Because they need to move out of VMware. They definitely need to think about the new storage that for VMware. Again, this is block storage only for 1 exabyte opportunity. Next page. On my right-hand side, your left-hand side here. So long time ago, this is where the traditional storage, traditional data center, everything is more predictables and more structures and very efficient. By the way, I don't put down any of the traditional data center people. I lived through those days, but nevertheless, I would say about 10, 15 years ago, there are more and more people that are adopting the cloud sort of operation model. In fact, there are a lot of shadow IT, move the IT to the cloud, and people really like those operations. In fact, we have many customers that, they just, 5 years ago, I was in London, there was a customer told me that, hey, we don't really need to talk to IBM storage anymore because we're moving the entire operation to the cloud. Okay, so, thank you for here to enjoy the tea and coffee, enjoy the tea and biscuit, and then you can go home now. So, few months ago, I met with a customer, actually a few months, about half a year ago, and they were like, we need to talk about the things. Because the middle of the cloud journey, this insurance company actually did that in the US. Their annual bill for the cloud storage is about $280 million. So they were like, let's talk about how do we bring back to on-prem, okay? Because this is out of control. And by the way, because people are really like the cloud operating models, okay, it's nothing wrong, it's just too expensive, okay? So they were like, when we move to on-prem, we need to build something like that. We just don't like the builds, okay? The next one. Next page, please. Remember I just talked about the data junkyards, the HDFS base. Okay, we have a lot of customers. Pretty much every time I call the customer, there's not a single customer I met does not have somewhere in their data center who is a bunch of the HDFS. And they're all minimally 100 petabytes. That's the basic stuff, right? And people just don't know what to do with it. They have no idea what's in there. It's very hard to manage. But with the new architectures, the new, sort of the new data lakehouse, if you will, everybody is trying to revamp that. We have another company that this year moving about 300 petabytes, and the total size of the opportunity for this one customer is about 2 exabytes of the data on HDFS. So The reason why I'm sharing with you that I'm throwing out a bunch of examples of 1 exabyte here, 3 exabyte there, and $200 million there, those are all our opportunity. But I think that collectively we need to figure out that how do we get those? Just because we have the potential, there are lots of work, in my opinion, that we need to do to get there. And I do the easy part, and Neha is going to tell you the difficult part, the challenging part. That how's the Ceph team working day and night to make these things happen? Okay.
Thank you, Vincent. So I want to continue Vincent's thought by talking a little bit about the industry trends that we at IBM are seeing around Ceph. There is a lot of expanded Ceph presence in industries like financial services, defense all over the globe, global enterprises moving petabytes, hundreds of petabytes of data into Ceph, and the public sector too. With all these opportunities, what we are also seeing are emerging use cases. Just like Vincent mentioned, customers now want cloud-native experience on-prem, and Ceph is well equipped to do that. So that's a huge win for us. Users also want to do modern data lake-like architectures, and RGW is perfectly equipped to do that. We have enterprise HA across data centers that customers are wanting to do, including things like 3 availability zones, completely synchronous. We also have talks about some of this later in the conference. But as you can see, these are things that traditionally Ceph was not being used for, but what we have inherently makes us well equipped to be able to be easily used in these emerging use cases, especially things like being used as a cloud provider, being used as a service model. So people want easy way to use storage, and that's where as a service fits perfectly. There's also things like S3 backup solutions that are kind of really emerging in the Ceph space. So this is exciting, and this kind of reaffirms what Mark Nelson was talking about, right? Like, we have a good foundation. How can we use this momentum and take Ceph to the next level? Now, I want to talk about things that we already have, and I also want to talk about things that IBM is helping to do to make Ceph even better. We have competitive TCO. The reason I say this is a lot of our competitors do not support erasure coding. We do support erasure coding for all workloads. We have things like compression, both in inline compression in BlueStore and at the RGW level. And some of the work that we have done with Intel in terms of UAT technology further enhances these capabilities in Ceph. In terms of performance, we have consistent performance with BlueStore, which has been a solid object store for like 5, 6, 7 years now, and it's going strong. It's evolving, and as you can see, there are further performance improvements coming up in the space. But what's next is Crimson in C-Store. That's going to help us use high performance and low latency storage to the utmost. So we have a performance story, and we have a TCO story. What next? Dan mentioned we are scalable. Of course we are scalable, but we want to make sure all the components that have been evolving in Ceph, like the Ceph Manager, is also as scalable as the OSD. So we are putting a lot of effort in the Ceph Manager, particularly, to make it scale to 10,000s or more of OSDs. This is something we kind of talked about in the last IBM keynote at CephLaCon Amsterdam. There's a lot of protocol support that is being added in terms of NVMe and TCP. It's fully available now to use for all our customers and users from the Squid release. We have comprehensive S3 API that's been there forever. It's being enhanced. We are enhancing our NFS support for CephFS, and we are also investing in SMB for CephFS. So, depending on what your use case is, there's an opportunity for improvement in your space. And finally, what makes Ceph cool is that we have centralized management interface for configuration, monitoring, and orchestration. So you don't have to rely on another software to do this for you. So that's where it's all unified, and it's a perfect solution for enterprise storage needs. Next, I want to talk about some of the stuff that's been happening since last year. It makes me feel very proud to announce that the Ceph engineering and quality engineering teams have grown by 70% across the globe just in 2024. That's the greatest number of people that have been added to the team since probably I have become part of this project. So huge round of applause to IBM for investing in Ceph at this scale. Clearly, all the work that I said we need to do, we need people to do it, and we need smart people to do it, so we've been hiring very actively across the globe. Ceph, the Ceph Foundation kind of restructured its model in terms of the tiers and everything. And I'm happy to say that IBM now supports the Ceph Foundation as a diamond member. And we are also a platinum sponsor. So that's a great thing. We want to do that every year, right? So we have another great initiative that we launched at Ceph Day New York, which is the Ceph User Council. The idea is to get concerted feedback from the community in areas starting off with performance and orchestration. And particularly the performance pillar of the Ceph User Council is being led by IBM. Vincent, myself, Laura Flores, we have done some work in this direction. And Bloomberg is the other company that has offered to volunteer to champion the orchestration pillar of the User Council. So I'm looking forward to making more progress in this direction in 2025. And of course, we have the highest number of contributors to code development and QE validation for all our upstream releases. Ceph Days. So we had a very successful year in terms of Ceph Days in 2024. I'm happy to announce that we are having 3 more Ceph Days, particularly that have been, started to be in plan. Ceph Day India is happening January 2025. I believe it's going to be 23rd. It's going to be Bangalore. So if you're there, or if you're planning to be in India, make sure you attend this event. It was a huge success last year, and we're hoping for an even better event this year. We are going to have the first Ceph Day at IBM Research Almaden in San Jose. And this is a great opportunity for us because IBM Research Almaden is one of the founding research organizations of IBM. So this is going to be a very cool opportunity. So if you're in and around the area, it's definitely worth the travel. So come by for this event. It's going to be sometime in March. Hopefully, we'll keep you posted with the logistics. And finally, Ceph Day London is happening again. It might not be in May, it may be June, but it is happening for sure, again, in partnership with Canonical. Vincent, do you want to come up? Go ahead. All right. So I want to spend a little more time on the User Council effort, because this is one thing we feel is important, because what makes us successful is hearing user feedback. And in a way that we can act on it, right? It's not just about listening and forgetting about it tomorrow, right? And coming to the next event and again listening and doing the same. This time we want to channelize user feedback in a way that can make our product better. The way we want to do this is by doing surveys that will be focused on particular topics. So we did surveys on performance. We did surveys on orchestration, things like day 1, day 2 experience of users. And we discuss the results of the survey at user dev meetings that happen every month. And we kind of try to also get active participation and get answers from some of the community members who have an opinion about things and want some improvements in the project. And based on that feedback, we get our leads, our tech leads and our developers to understand the real-world problems that our users are facing and solve them and prioritize them in the next releases that come in. So as you can see, that the first survey went out in May 2024. We had a discussion at the Ceph User Dev Monthly, and one example of what came out is a tracker ticket for Orchestrator for Ceph ADM. What's next is we want to invest more in this area. We want to understand user pain points and address them. So we are going to be looking for other areas beyond performance and orchestration to do more surveys on. One of them is also going to be about user stories, and I spoke a little bit about it yesterday. We want to understand what kind of use cases our users have in the community, and we want to also add them to our website. So that's another thing to look out for. I think with that,
one more thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so again, the user council stuff is absolutely important. I think that in order to capture the opportunity I just talking about, we need to understand, we have deep understanding of customers' use case and pain point and challenges. Just one more thing is that IBM, as you already know, that IBM is heavily invested in AI technologies. And I think that this is also, we bring the technology to Ceph as well. So one of the projects, I think one of the booths we are doing today is create a fine-tune a foundation model so you can check with the Ceph usage. So instead of call Nehas or Kyos or ask, well, how do you do this, right? I think that we are, if you have a new technology to allow the model fully understand how to operate Ceph, how to do the best practice, but we cannot do this without the community help. So I encourage your community to participate in these projects and make this model better. This model is for communities and for everybody to learn to be used to better your experience. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Everybody is riding the AI journey. We don't want to be staying behind. So thank you so much, everybody.